It is Jimmie Rivera, who normally I would say UFC veteran, but I mean at this point it's BKFC featherweight, right? You got the first win for the promotion, so talk to me, man. What was the feel of getting that victory?
It was good, man. I mean, it's been a little while. I fought in June against one of their top guys, Howard Davis, and got a draw, which I think it was, I think it went the wrong way. But getting back in there and finally getting in a fight, because it took a little while. Went through a few people to get a yes. Not everybody wants to fight Jimmie Rivera. I don't know what the fucking problem is. It's like the same problem running into when I was in the UFC. Everybody behind me wants to fight me. No one in front wants to fight. So with that said, getting in there, getting my hand raised, and getting the win felt really good, especially against a guy that I knew a little bit about. And I was like, all right, he's got a couple boxing matches and like 15 MMA fights. To find out he's got like over 60 fights. He was like the king of Thailand champ or something like that. Has 40 Muay Thai fights. I was like, holy shit, impressive record. Learned more and more. I learned more about my opponent after the fight than I did before the fight.
Is that maybe better that you didn't know all that stuff going into it?
Oh, that shit doesn't matter. I said yes to the first four guys. They all said no. It didn't matter. Some of those guys were tough too. So it is what it is.
Much respect. We were kind of laughing before we got started. You're healing up there. Obviously, we still see some of the cuts. I guess talk to me, Jimmy, about that, because I mean, you've been in some battles in mixed martial arts. You get sliced up here. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out if this stuff is more dangerous or more scary. I mean, the cuts definitely happen easier. What's your take?
I think honestly, the shots are not as hard as it is wearing a glove, but it's way easier to get cut. It's bone on skin in a way, bone on bone almost. You want to say. So the cuts are definitely there. I mean, you look at the fight card April with Rockhold and Perry, Chad and Eddie. Actually, I trained with Eddie getting ready for that fight. I did a couple sessions with him sparring. I saw him after the fight. I'm like, dude, how are your hands? He just showed me balloons. I was like, oh, those are bad. That's why I'm like, you got to pick your shots. So I'm like, you got to be careful. Like my hands are great right now. So the only thing I got to heal is my face. And I even remember the shot the guy hit me, a nice straight left hand. I'm like, oh, he didn't telegraph. It was a good left hand. And then I'm like, am I bleeding? I can't tell. And they put so much fucking Vaseline on. And I get it because when I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, there's a big hole in my head. And, and I was like wiping my eyes during the fight. I can't see shit right now. And then afterwards, I probably spent 15, 20 minutes there. Like these were nothing. They just did a stitch just to, just kind of close it up faster. But they spent a long time on that cut. And I was like, well, this is a deep cut. This is about 15, 20 minutes to stand there and them stitching me up.
That's crazy. So, you mentioned the debut that was a draw. And obviously, as you said, you went against the top guy in your debut. I mean, what was the feeling after that? I got to believe it was kind of a letdown, right? I mean, you're coming into BKFC, it's a debut, and then you don't even get a result. Like, I feel like you'd almost rather like lose than just walk away with a draw.
You know what? I looked at that fight, and I watched it, and then I looked at how much I counted. I looked at the scorecard. I definitely, you give the guy, if you count that as a knockdown, which they did, so you give the guy the third round 10-8. But I definitely won the first and the second, the fourth and the fifth. You know what I mean? Again, they're like, I know he had a little better ring control, but he's also 6'2", and I'm 5'4", so I needed a little distance. Like those rings aren't big. It's not a big ring we're bare knuckling in. You know what I mean? We're knuckling up. Those are little rings. The guy's 6'2", so it's a little hard to find distance in there. And then he was smart. However, every time I got in, I was going to work the body, come up to the head. He would lock onto me. He would grab me. And I'm like, I can't say anything against it. It's a smart move. You don't want to be inside with me toe to toe. So it is what it is. It just sucked that it ended up being a draw. I guess I don't know what round they gave him. It was hard to tell when I rewatched it, and me not being biased. Like even this last fight, I thought it was 4-1, and I was just even giving a little more credit to the guy. I gave him the fourth round because of damage, but a lot of those just had 3-2. The commentators like, yeah, I don't know about 3-2. You even hear him talking about it. I don't know about that. I mean, I get it. There's going to be damage, but it's bare knuckles. There's damage. It is what it is, Like I knocked the guy back 5 feet with a body shot. What about that damage? Do I get a little credit on that? So I don't judge. I just like, all right, it is what it is. I just got to make sure instead of what I did the first 3 rounds, I do all 5 rounds of trying to knock the dude out and take his head off.
I love it. That is a fair point, though. And obviously that point is with mixed martial arts even as well. Like damage as a cut versus damage as in like, kicking somebody's legs or drilling them to the body. I mean, okay, maybe it doesn't show because there's no blood dripping out, but it's actual real damage. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
judges don't necessarily see that. They value the cut, which is really just kind of a superficial
Just a
injury.
cut. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just a cut. It's not now if he hit me and cut me and rocked me where I did a little stinky leg, I give it to him. That's a 10-8 round.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you cut someone, it's a cut. You know, like there's gonna be damage. You know, sometimes everybody's taller than me, so I'm working that fucking body when I can. You know what I mean? When I fought Howard 6'2", I was like, holy shit. And I told my coach, I'm like, nah, he's like 5'11". Are you sure? He says he's 6'2". I'm like, people lie. And I saw him like, oh yeah, he's 6'2".
That's great. So 11 months between that fight and this one. Was that just time you needed away, or was it tough to get scheduled? Were you training the whole time? What was the reason for the layoff?
Needed some time to heal. Then I had 5 months of a police academy. I'm a police officer here in Elmwood Park. And then from there, from January until recently when I fought, we were trying to get me an opponent. You know what I mean? So, I was out September to December. I was trying to get a quick turnaround, maybe in August, maybe even begin September, but my hands were still a little bruised up. That was a tough fight with Howard. And then, I was talking to my manager, talking to Dave, and the first 4 guys all said no. And finally I got this guy, and I can't pronounce his name, so he said yes. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I literally signed a contract the week before the fight.
That's incredible. Yeah, you mentioned the police academy. That's amazing. Was this something that you had always thought about? Was this like a lifelong dream to maybe do this that you finally did, or how did you come to that decision?
So Ron Showman, who's one of my coaches, was there coaching me for the fight, and Chief Mike Feligno over here in Elmwood Park. We started defensive tactics program. We weren't like what was going on. We wanted to help people out, so we started guarding the defensive tactics. And it's really just giving officers a game plan. You have a lot of people that don't have any training, or don't think training is important, but they got to have something. You know what I mean? They don't train off hours. Starting next year in 2024. I mean, it's not a lot. It's like either twice a year for 8 hours or twice a year for 4 hours. You have to do, defensive tactics training mandatory. Just like we shoot twice a year is mandatory. We have to qualify. If we don't qualify, obviously can't be a cop. So they're going to be doing this. So we jumped the gun on it ahead of time. Elmwood Park's been doing it for about almost 4 years now. We've had a lot of, we even showed it today during one of the sessions we had. We actually have this session going on this week for 4 days. Our guys, same thing, just doing basic stuff like figure 4 on the legs, controlling the wrists, no one videotaping, no one screaming, no, don't hurt my family member, all this stuff. Just being able to put the suspect under arrest and no injuries to the officers and none to the suspect. We're giving guys a game plan. 95% of the times you're going to go hands-on with someone. I mean, it's not going to happen all the time, but you are if it's going to happen. All right? People, it's not, you're not going to be quick to pull a gun out or anything like that. You even saw what the George Floyd did. You need to go hands up, but you got to be able to understand where you're at. You got to be able to control the person. No knee on neck or knee on back or any of that shit. Like, just simple basics to understand. And once you give these officers a game plan, they could go and do what they need to do and protect, the suspect, people around them, and themselves, and everybody gets to go home. And that's their main priority. Everybody gets to go home, know the basic stuff. There's no jumping guard. There's no pulling guard. There's no these crazy stuff. A lot of it is very basic. By the 4th day, the guys are like, I'm kind of tired of it. You know what I mean? Because, they've done it so much. There's about 15 to 18 moves we teach in the first level. And it's just simple stuff, all to the rest. Simple.
That's very cool, man. I think that's a needed tactic. I know this turns into like a hot button political topic, but you see so many like arrests gone wrong, like videos where like, dude, if you knew basic control,
they're not trained. That's it. That's what happens. They're saying, I'm not trying to get political. They say to fund the police. I go, listen, why don't we just train them? Why don't we get mandatory programs? Get our program out there right now, Guardy, a mandatory program that they have to do twice a year and then keep up with their training. Everything we're teaching them officers is what we teach in the beginner jiu-jitsu adult class. Basic stuff. We do no-gi, basic stuff, but now we add the little police twist. So because now in self-defense, we always teach you if it's okay to be on your back. Now we have to teach these officers that we have to get the suspect to their stomach, cuff them, and once we get the cuffs on them, we have to sit them up so they're not in a positional asphyxia position. We got to make sure they can breathe, they're good, and if it was a fight, right away get medical attention and they're taken care of.
That's awesome, man. So is this something that you're just doing locally, or is it something you hope to branch out and maybe teach across the state or across the nation?
Well, it's going well in Jersey right now in Bergen County where I'm at. If it goes bigger, we'll do it. We're more than we're all excited for it. We really did it just to help. The program is not expensive at all. It's very cheap. It's cheaper than Gracie program, any other programs they have out there. It's really just to kind of pay for the place, the location, entire show location we're using, and for the instructor, because all the instructors at the locations are certified. So just give the instructor some money for them to put in their pocket, because they're taking 16 hours of the week, 4-hour days, 4 days, 4 hours to teach, while we're there too supervising and go, because we work as well, so we got to go in and out. There's some big calls that come that chief have to take, but doing that, so there's not making any money on it. We're just helping cops. We're just trying to get them, have a game plan, and this way, they're not the cops that you see. 3 cops can't get 1 suspect in handcuffs. That's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? They do all this training for police officers, all these things, but I think one of the things we're neglected a lot over the years, and how policing is defensive tactics. So we just said, fuck it. Went past 4 years, we've been doing it. We stepped up to it, and you see the results already in Elmwood Park. Elmwood Park's been doing 4 years. Their use of force way down. And when there is use of force, like the video we just watched today, was probably about 6 months ago, where there's no screaming, no nothing. No one's worrying about their family member getting hurt. They control the legs, one officer. Other one's just grabbing the wrist, getting behind, put the cuffs on. They get him right up. They get him medical attention just in case he has any injuries, which he didn't. Boom, done.
Very cool. So where does that leave fighting in your life? I mean, is BKFC or mixed martial arts something you want to keep pursuing, or is this kind of your full-time thing now?
Hey, man, no. I mean, I got a couple jobs. I teach. I'm a police officer. I'm lucky enough, during the tactics, I could go and help out whenever we have it with other departments. But fighting is fighting, man. I'm hoping to get back in again soon. I just, I don't know how hard it's going to be. We had a hard time getting opponents for me. I want to get back in there. I have my eye on the winner of June 9th. They have the 145 belt on the line. I think Lopez might win that fight. He's a crazy brawler, and but it could go either way. I would love to get in there and fight, him or whoever, or his opponent. Whoever wins that match, put it towards that and get a title shot. It's been my goal. That's why I fought Howard Davis, first fight, number 1. He was the number 1 ranked guy. Sucked it was a draw, but then it took a while. It came and say, I did have the academy, but still then I was training, and I was, we were trying to set up fights for January, February, and just kind of took a while to get something going. I mean, again, run into the same problem. No one wants to fight me.
It's crazy, man. Can I say, by the way, how thankful I am that they let you grow your beard back? That clean-shaven pic of you at the police academy, that was a bit jarring, man. That was jarring.
It's rough. I actually got to pay soon. What we do in our police department is anybody on patrol, they can have a beard, but it's $50 a month. So that's what the chief does. And that $50 a month, the money they collect, it goes to charity, someone that needs some help, kid that can't afford school supplies, stuff like that. So, the chief really, gives a lot back. We do a lot of community stuff and get back to the community. And $50 a month for charity, it's a no-brainer. To have a beard, I believe the only people that should not have beards are women and children.
That's awesome.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. You have a little 5 o'clock shadow. I'm sorry.
It's just in there,
Yeah, you got something though. It's not completely shaved. Yeah, it's rough. My bad.
It's all good, man. It was hilarious. When I saw that picture, I was like, "Wait, that is him?" Oh my God, I've never seen you with that one.
Even my students didn't recognize me when I was teaching. It took them a little while to realize it. My hair, that was another thing. Actually, honestly, I didn't even care about my hair. It was more the beard. Like I would have shaved my head every day. I look pretty good, without a shaved head with a beard. But my facial hair, it's what, it was rough.
Yeah, I don't know if all men have to have it, but Jimmie Rivera definitely needs to have a beard. We've never seen it any other way. So
otherwise, I look like a 13-year-old boy. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Jimmie, I know you're busy, man, so I won't take too much of your time. Just want to say congratulations on the victory. It's good to see you back in there. Good to see you finally get that win, and I'm happy to know that we'll probably see you again in future. And by the way, I think you should be fighting for that. You're already in my rankings in BKFC, so I mean, I think you deserve that opportunity. So we'll stay tuned, and obviously we'll watch whatever it is.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and I can't wait. Hopefully, be a quick turnaround. I'll be talking to you soon again.